Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to episode 1011 of One Piece. So last time Apu got defeated by Zoro being a badass, and Chopper has figured out how to fix everything with the virus. So things are definitely progressing well in that regard. And just everything else is just kind of progressing as usual. I'm hoping we get some really cool new stuff soon though. I've been enjoying what we've been getting. Don't get me wrong, I'm still having a great time with this. But I want to see some more interesting, unique stuff. We got a little bit of that with like a hint at a fight with Sasaki, but then it just kind of stopped once Frankie got there and everything. And it's like I wanted to see more of that. In general, I kind of want to see more of the fights with the oh god, my mind is blanking on their name. You know, their group. I don't know why my mind is blanking on their name completely right now. But you know, like we've seen like Alti and Page One fight, but I want to see that like a real, like a good fight with them. Like I want to see Who's Who in action. I want to see Black Maria in action. That's a big thing I definitely want to see more of going forward. And in general, I just want to see more interesting stuff. I want to see more with Sulong, Carrot, and Wanda. It's like the stuff we've been getting. Again, all good and well, all fine. But there's just so much potential here, you know? And we've only kind of stepped into it so far. We haven't really fully immersed ourselves in it. But no matter what, I'm still enjoying myself. I'm still having a great time with this series, so we'll just have to see where it goes. Let's just get this started and hope for the best. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, Sanji fell for the trap. It was so obviously a trap. And not even just because we knew that the Snake Lady was working for Orochi and Kaido. Like, yeah, although that was obvious, it was also just obvious this was a trap. Not necessarily set for Sanji specifically, but for anyone who would come to help in this situation, which hopefully would be most people. Because if you really think about it, like if you hear sexual harassment going on, like you should want to help. No matter who you are, unless again you know it's a trap, like it obviously was here. But thinking about this, it's like we clearly know this is Sanji using the color of observation. Just the fact that no one else is able to hear it, but he's able to hear it, sense it, hone in on it. It's like, yeah, that's got to be the color of observation. But we also have to understand, like, Sanji is smart, and maybe even deep down he had an inkling that this was a trap. But he's such a horn dog, he can't help himself. And again, we know why he's so into women now. We know why he won't usually fight women now and everything. We have the context for all of that. It's still kind of annoying. It admittedly is. It's not. It doesn't feel as bad as it used to. Like I used to really not like it because it got to a point where it was just like kind of gross. Um, and I'm not even counting specifically the points where he like really goes over the top and just really bad with it. Um, Such as in this very arc where he, turned invisible to spy on the women's bath. Not even counting those terrible moments. Um, there are still the points where it's like it's just a little too much. Um, but here it's more along the lines of he's just falling for the trap, and when that's clearly what they're trying to do here. So this kind of must be Black Maria's specialty, kind of the using the entire feminine charm to trap opponents and catch them in her web, basically. Um, so yeah, from the opening, we know Black Maria is like a spider, but we haven't actually seen that in action yet. Um, but the episode title even kind of gives her that kind of explanation, so it's there. Um, we also got in this episode Zoro basically throwing up a big middle finger to Queen, saying like, "I'm sick of your fucking games. Let's just fight." He's like so done with all of this bullshit. Um, Zoro's continuing to be badass, yeah. But I like how he's like, right at the moment he gets angry, like the entire island starts to shake as Kaido lifts it up and everything using his flame clouds. And it's like really funny because at first it's like we're thinking, oh, Zoro's using Color of the Supreme King. It's like obviously Zoro would have that capability. Like it's no question that Zoro is has the capability for Color of the Supreme King. That's like duh, no shit. um, he's Luffy's right hand. Of course, he's going to have the Color of the Supreme King. But it's like I did kind of think he used it there. But no, it's Kaido pulling some shenanigans. Um, Marco does come in to help out, though, and we get to see that he's basically perfect for what's going on there with the Ice Onis. So the best person. So I assume that Carrot and Wanda are still taking on Perospero and everything. Big Mom already just kind of flew the coop and is headed up. Don't know where she's at the moment, though. She hasn't arrived up there with Kaido yet, so unclear. Um, Luffy and Jinbei just completely bypassed the two that were waiting for them. Because they found some people from Udon who are like, oh yeah, there's some dudes waiting for you at the stairs. Just climb up this ladder to the next floor. It's really fucking funny. We have Anami and Tama and Usopp continuing on, and it's just like, yeah, things are just moving along. Things are continuing on with most of this stuff. We had a couple points of focus. Then we had other stuff like Yamato escaping with Shinobu and Momo, which, again, just a very small scene, but that one was setting up obviously what Kaido's doing. We had a very small scene with the fight against Kaido and the Akazaya 9. A lot of smaller scenes with a couple things focused on, which is kind of to be expected. We are getting what kind of, like I said, I wanted in the pre-thoughts here. with Black Maria coming in, just getting more interesting, unique stuff being brought up now. Um, with that, with the entire part about Onigashima being lifted up, the only thing I'm concerned about is if Kaido loses his concentration on moving Onigashima, will it just drop? Like, if someone came up there now and started fighting him and he lost his concentration, would the entire island just drop? I'm genuinely curious at that. Since the flame clouds are already created, will they stay there? Will it just stay there in the air? I genuinely don't know. Maybe we'll find out, because Luffy and Jinbei are still headed up. Zoro wants to head up too. And as we saw, Robin and Brooke both saw Kiku's arm as well, and they're concerned with it. Which they should be. I mean, we could see how just pissed off Zoro is at the moment after that. Like, because let's be honest, that is what got Zoro really antsy and angry. Just seeing Kiku's arm fall like that, that I think freaked him out. Because as I said in the past reactions, when that happened, Zoro does respect Kiku very much so. We've seen this, and so seeing her arm fall like that probably did freak him out. It probably scared him a bit. And being one of the strongest members of the crew, he does want to be up there facing Kaido. His entire thing is he wants to face strong opponents. That's kind of what he wants, so he can become stronger and become the world's strongest swordsman. So him wanting to take on Kaido specifically just makes sense. And so seeing someone he respects, seeing their arm just fall solitarily down from the roof and everything, is going to just upset him. Like, he wasn't there to help protect her or keep her safe or anything, but also just, while he does respect her as a swordsman and everything, he doesn't want to see her get hurt, and he wants to be able to make sure that Kaido and them can't achieve their goals and hurt anyone else through that. Because if his new Onigashima project gets like, if it succeeds, a shit ton of people in the Flower Capital and just in Wano in general are going to die. In fact, I would probably say most of the innocent people in the country will die. The only survivors will be those that are put to work in the factories. But I would still say a good majority of the people will die. Because Kaido doesn't need everyone for the factories. And in this case, because he even said in this episode, he wants New Onigashima to basically be a pirate haven, to be just this land for pirates to just thrive in and stuff, and that's all he wants for it. So he doesn't need all these other people around. He has no issue with just murdering them flat out, and Zoro, I feel, would know that. Luffy even, I feel, would know that. So it's like they want to stop him for, their own reasons, and because of knowing what he's done and everything in the past with Odin and with just taking over the country and everything in general. But I'm sure they also just want to help protect people, because that's what they tend to do, just in a most general sense. We've seen this throughout the entire series. When people are put in active danger, like, the crew jumps into action. Because they're good people. They don't want to see people get hurt. They're not being pirates, like, to be these dominant forces that just put everybody below them. They're being pirates for the adventure, for the freedom, for just the ability to just live, like, in their own way, in a way free from the world government's control, which, definitely appeals to certain members of the crew, like Jinbei and Robin. um, but yeah, I'm just, I'm very much enjoying what we've got, and by mixing things up a little bit here and introducing a few new facets to things, this episode is definitely making me very much more interested to see where it goes. So, yeah, it's a long-winded arc. It is, but it's even long in the manga. So, some people always like to bitch about the pacing and everything. They did so with Dressrosa and Whole Cake Island, and they're always going to. I think the pacing is fine. I think it's fine. There's a lot happening, so the pacing is going to be slower than in previous arcs or whatnot. It just makes sense, and honestly, it's never boring. It's never dull. Even if you want to say, oh, the manga you could get through quicker and stuff, and it's like, it doesn't matter to me. It's never dull. I can wait a week. I have other stuff to watch. It's not like this is the only thing I watch. I can wait. It's not boring. It's not dull. It's not too long. The pacing's fine. I think people are just impatient. People in this day and age just have this entire mindset of wanting everything like right away and not wanting to wait for anything. And it's just like, just be patient. Just stop rushing through everything. You really don't need to. It's one of the biggest reasons why I hate the entire binging model that like Netflix has perpetuated. And it's why I tend not to binge things for the most part. Because I don't like doing that. It takes away a lot of the tension, a lot of the build up, a lot of what makes these shows great. Binging them hurts the overall quality, in my opinion. And when you have shows that are made to be binged, not just because they're put on Netflix or whatnot, but are actually made to be binged, they don't have any tension. They don't have any proper build up or setup in the first place. They just feel like they're supposed to be rushed through, and it lessens them, it cheapens them. If a show feels like you're supposed to binge through it, then there's an issue with the show in the first place. And usually it's not that good if it feels like it should. Most shows on Netflix aren't like that, though. And I mean the ones that are, originally released on Netflix, like Stranger Things or whatnot, or Squid Game. Those are shows that don't feel like they should be binged. In fact, they actively feel like you shouldn't binge them. And I'm glad that I don't tend to, for the most part. I did binge through all of season 2 in literally one sitting. But I did that for, a reaction special on the channel. And I regret doing that for a lot of reasons. One, it just exhausted the shit out of me. And two, it definitely lessened the season for me. But to be fair, season 2 also wasn't the best. It was kind of the weakest season of Stranger Things so far. Just in general. Though it did have some really good stuff to it too, like Bob. So I will give it that. But this isn't about Stranger Things. The point I'm trying to make here is that One Piece does not have a pacing issue with the anime, like a lot of people like to say it does. People are just impatient. People are just whiny and bitchy because they can't binge this once they catch up, because they have to wait a week for more content, and that usually means they're left on cliffhangers, or they're left waiting to find out what happens with some specific circumstance or event or character. And people just, they're too impatient these days. So it's like, that's not a problem with the series, it's a problem with them. And it's just, it's the reason I've never understood the issue when people bring that up for One Piece's anime. Like, if you want to complain about the production value dipping at points, do that all you want. That doesn't make any difference to me. Because honestly, even when the production value is at its lowest, it still looks great. People like to pause at very, very specific frames to try and say, like, oh, One Piece's production value is shit at times. And it's like, yeah, only when you pause at that very specific frame. If you're not pausing at that frame, it looks fine in actual motion. It looks perfectly fine. It's just if you pause it at that frame, and it's like, oh, you don't usually do that. Excuse me. I knew that was coming. But if they want to complain about that, complain about that. But the pacing issue is just like, it's not an issue. Like, even if you're watching it week to week, it's not an issue. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I just have more patience than most people. But, like, I have no problem with this. I'm good with the cliffhangers, even if they are really, like, even if they feel very annoying at times. It's like, I'm good with having them because it builds up the tension and makes the payoffs mean more. It actively improves the series to be paced like this. And I think that, honestly, that's another reason why I prefer the anime to the manga in pretty much every situation. I feel the pacing is just always better because of those reasons. But that's really not the biggest issue I have with the manga, with reading manga in the first place. I'm just not into manga. I just can't feel emotion from it. That's my biggest problem with that. But again, I'm kind of rambling and getting off track. I very much enjoyed this episode. I'm excited to see where it continues to go from here. We've got a lot of new setups to cover, and I'm getting very, very hyped for the stuff that's to eventually come in the future. In the meantime, though, tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode of One Piece, and thank you for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.